Are you frustrated when AI-generated code doesn't work as expected? While AI can help developers, it's not a substitute for expertise. Over-reliance on AI can kill your growth as a developer, but when used wisely, it has its place. In the beginning, we'll identify the problems with learning how to code using AI. I'll mention 8 reasons why learning how to code with AI is terrible and actually is going to kill your career as a developer. So let's get into it. The first reason is shallow understanding. Using AI to learn how to code and to solve your coding problem is bypassing your learning curve. My father taught me when I was very young, even though he wasn't the best teacher, he's a very smart dude. And he always taught me to ask myself, why am I doing something in a particular way rather than just taking that information for granted. He was so obsessed with teaching me this that he was also making me question, why am I holding the pen in a particular way? Why am I drawing the line from left to right? Why do I need to have my hand in this particular position when I'm drawing a line rather than this position? When you are using AI to learn how to code, you'll end up just copying code, pasting it into your code editor, and you'll know how to do a lot of things. But you'll not understand why you're doing those things in that particular way. And understanding why something works in a particular way is more important than knowing how to do it. Because if you know why you do something in a particular way, means that you'll have the knowledge to apply those concepts or see some particular patterns in situations or contexts that you've never experienced before or you've never been familiar with before. So when you understand why something works in a particular way, you'll become way more flexible. If you only know how to do something in a particular way, when you're getting outside of your comfort zone, you will not know how to react, and it's gonna be pretty much like you being thrown into the middle of the ocean and you'll have to figure out how to swim back to the shore. It's gonna be impossible. Probably a shark will eat you and unfortunately you'll die. Second reason is that you'll have difficulty solving problems without AI for assistance. When you start to turn to AI every single time you have a problem, you'll start to lose confidence in your abilities to write code by yourself. Your confidence in your ability is what is going to carry you throughout your career. When you have to use AI for every single problem, there will be a time, and that time is going to come very soon. I can guarantee you that you'll feel this in your first job, in your first year, if you manage to get that first job, where you will realize you're not only feeling like an imposter and you have imposter syndrome, you are actually an imposter. You will not be able to pass the interview for your first job because there are so many tools out there being developed to interview developers. You will have to actually learn the basics to be able to pass these interviews. I have seen many people in my coaching program that came in with 1 or 2 years of experience that didn't know how to write a for loop, that are struggling to write the syntax for like basic stuff. You will be interviewed by people who have been coding for years and years and years, and they will see right through your expertise or lack of expertise. They will see that you have very shallow knowledge of everything, and unfortunately you will be missing a lot of opportunities. Third reason is that AI solutions are often incorrect or incomplete. Probably you notice that all these AI tools are very confident in whatever they are outputting, but if you are a beginner and if you don't know the truth, you will start to learn things the wrong way. You'll end up in a cycle where you just keep pasting code and trying the code that the bot is spitting back at you, and then you'll end up in a cycle of trying shit that doesn't work and you don't know what's wrong. Instead, what you could do is, if you have the knowledge and the expertise, you can just get your hands dirty and fix the problem. The fourth reason is that you will start to lose your coding abilities. It doesn't matter if you just started coding yesterday or if you have 1 or 2, 3, 4 years of experience, you will start to lose this muscle, because knowing how to code is a muscle that you have to keep developing, or at least maintain it. If you stop using it because you are using AI for every single problem that you have, with time, you will have this muscle atrophy. If you are a complete beginner and you're using AI from the very beginning, you'll not even have the chance to develop that muscle. It's like going to the gym and instead of doing bicep curls by yourself, your friend is lifting the dumbbells for you. And yeah, for sure, you can increase the number in your workout tracking app, but in reality, it's not you lifting the weights. Then the fifth point is that you'll have a very shallow understanding of programming concepts. One of the most important things that you need to understand is that coding, like any skill, needs some sort of foundation, some sort of base from where you can actually build a building. And if you are a complete beginner, your job is to make sure that you are digging as much as possible and you are learning and knowing and have expertise in the language that you're using, in the field that you are about to get in. You do not develop yourself like this T, right? So there's this idea of a T-shape programmer where you know a little bit of everything, but you have very deep understanding of one particular thing. If you just develop the top part of the T, nobody's gonna take you seriously and you won't be able to advance in your career. So when you use AI for everything, you will end up in a position where you do not engage with certain concepts that you have to be familiar with. Like for example, really understanding how to use array methods or string methods. The sixth reason is that you will not develop your creativity. Whenever you try to solve a coding problem, whenever you try to build your app, you go out for a walk and then you have ideas, or you are in the shower, you have ideas, you are having dinner and you have ideas. And this happens because whenever you're trying to solve a problem, your brain opens something called a loop, a feedback loop. So you have a problem and now your brain is trying to solve that problem. It's like natural instinct. It works in movies as well, right? You see a movie, you see the start of the movie, and if the start is good, you are hooked and you want to watch until the end and see how the story ends. It works in a similar way with programming. So when you use AI all the time to solve your problems, you are literally killing or bottlenecking this process. You will not develop this obsession, which is good, or this passion for programming. And if you do not develop this passion or obsession with programming, then you'll just be stuck in frustration because you cannot find the right prompts to solve your coding problem. And the last thing that I want to mention here is debugging. So debugging is pretty much 90% of your work as a programmer. When you use AI to debug your code, you are literally, again, stopping yourself from finding more information about the language or the field that you are working in. So the way I think about it is like a GTA map. So when you start the game for the first time, you are dropped somewhere on the map and then you start to do certain missions. And as you are doing certain missions, the map lights up. Right? In the beginning it's all gray or dark or whatever, and then as you are navigating the map and as you are solving more and more missions, you get to know the map. Yeah, maybe you don't know exactly every street name, but you have a bird's eye view over how the map looks like. You know that if you go left, you will find a city. If you go right, you'll find, I don't know, the sea. If you go straight and then turn right after a certain intersection, you will find an airport. So you start to have a better idea about how the map is laid out. And this only happens when you do a lot of manual debugging, if you may. Even though you might have a problem and that problem might take you 3, 4, 5 days to solve, if you are figuring out how to go from A to B, you'll be finding about X or Y or Z. I hope that makes sense. But when you're using AI to debug, it's like being in point A and then teleporting yourself in point B. You are literally killing the fun part of the game. Now the goal is simple, is to build real world skills, build real world apps, and confidence in your skills without skipping the fundamentals. But if you're struggling with finding this balance or you feel unsure about your coding journey, don't worry about it. Click on the first link in the description and join the Developer Pro community. We have the full roadmap planned out for you all the way from beginner to getting hired. We have coaching calls, we have interview prep coaching calls every single week. You can ask for reviews as you're solving your problems and building applications, and everything is solved for you. All you have to do is do the work and ask for help whenever you get stuck, or ask for reviews whenever your work is completed. This worked hundreds of times. It works this year, it worked last year. This program that I have developed is amazing for anyone who is looking to make a career change. So click on the first link in the description and join the Developer Pro community. I want to give you some tips on how to use AI effectively. I understand that not everyone can afford to be part of my coaching program, and I want to make sure that you are equipped with the tools to make this career change as smooth as possible, and I want you to do it right as well. If you'd be my student, I would tell you, hey, do not use AI. The way I would do it would be in the following way. The first thing would be starting with manual problem solving. Debugging is 90% of your work. You need to understand that even though it sucks, you have to lean into it and do it. The more you do something, the better you get at it. Learning how to debug and to problem solve, like learning a new language. So let's say you are an American and tomorrow you have to move to Spain, and from now on you cannot use English anymore. You download Duolingo and you start learning some phrases and whatnot. You'll realize that you cannot go very far with greetings and saying that you're hungry and whatever. When you start as a beginner and you start to learn how to debug, you are pretty much like in the same situation as moving into a new country where nobody speaks your native language. And the more you debug, the more you research, you develop your vocabulary and you'll be able to create better queries. Okay, because if I have a problem, I can figure out how to write my question, and I'm gonna get back an answer. When you learn how to write these queries, you will know how to prompt the bot to do the right work for you. Then the next thing that I want to give you is to focus on understanding. So instead of asking the bot to write the code for you, ask the bot to give you guidance or to give you hints or tips or discuss why a certain approach is better than another one. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make as a beginner is to just ask for ready-made cooked code. The point is to write the code yourself so you can understand each line of code, each array method, each string method. Because if you write the code by yourself and if you understand it, that's when you start to develop that vertical line of the T. And that's when you become valuable. Third thing is to use AI as a tool, not as a replacement. So I saw a Reddit post the other day, or Twitter post, I don't remember, and there was a beginner developer who wanted to make their own SaaS. The bot started destroying the code base after a while, and the code base wasn't even that big. I think there were like 30 files or something like that. Any AI tool that you use is gonna be an amplifier of who you are as a developer. It's gonna amplify your skill set. So if you are a 1 out of 10, what you can do with AI is not gonna be that impressive. And then you'll be blocked at some point, you'll have a bottleneck, and then you realize that, okay, you spent 3, 4, 6 months building an app with AI, and now, in order for you to progress, you have to spend 1, 2, 3 years to learn the fundamentals that you missed because you did everything the wrong way. I personally can use AI in a very efficient way because I have deep expertise into programming. I know how to build applications. I've done it for many years for big companies. Focus a lot on building your fundamentals. I cannot stress this enough. And then when your fundamentals are solid, when you know how to debug, then you can use AI, and you can use AI as a tool, and it's not going to replace you. And the next thing that I want to give you is to set clear AI limits. I want you to think about that every single time you press submit, every single time you make a query, that query is going to cost you $100, because every single time you ask a question, you are literally stopping yourself from getting better at programming. And the more disciplined you become with this, you will start to develop your skill sets, and you'll need AI less and less. You need to set clear limits on your AI usage. Maybe just once a day, once you finish your work, you can run your code through it and ask for some feedback. And then the next day you can work on that feedback and see if the feedback was right or wrong. Now, many self-taught developers, either beginner or more advanced, are struggling to break through in their coding career. The key is to avoid common pitfalls and build strong learning habits. Watch my video, Why Self-Taught Developers Fail or Quit When Learning How to Code. Linked right here. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Watch that video and achieve an incredible milestone for your career. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace out.